You know what that sound means? Oh yeah. Means it's time for another episode of Brainstorm Brewery, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. I'm your favorite podcaster, Jason Alt. I'm joined by my two guests. Returning, I guess he's a host emeritus of the podcast. Returning to us after a brief stint of not being on the cast, Ryan Bouchard. Go ahead and say hello, Ryan.
What's up? Yeah. No, I mean, I'm hoping to be back in more regularly now. Living back in Michigan now, so doing my own thing again for a little while and see how that goes. But I'm excited to be back around. Hopefully, you know, I said once a month before. We'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll be more, maybe it'll be less.
Okay, so you know, we can't really schedule the podcast because Ryan's not going to give us anything firm, but that's cool. We're joined tonight by a longtime guest, Mr. Douglas DJ Johnson.
Not a single fart noise in that intro. I'm proud of you, Jason.
I use fart noises to accentuate that what Corbin is saying is something dumb, not really because I like the sound of fart noises. Actually, that's a lie. I taught my daughter a joke. So when we're public, I'm like, Lily, tell a joke. And she says, what sound does a butt make?
It's not really a joke.
You know what? She's 2. So that's easy for her to remember. I can't be teaching her a joke with like 3 dudes walking into a bar or whatever. She can remember what sound does a butt make. So that's what she's about.
I just feel like she could know a lot of other quote-unquote loose jokes like that didn't involve fart noises.
But they wouldn't be as funny to her.
But yeah, you're her dad, so that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. I am her dad. If you'll notice, it's a little brighter in my basement. Those of you who are watching this on YouTube. I was going to take out one of the light bulbs to replace it, and I lifted Lily up, and then she kind of hit the ceiling, and the light turned on, and it was miraculous. My wife cried, and then Lily said, I'm tired, boss. Dog tired. And then we killed her in an electric chair. So that was my week.
Jesus.
Did you guys have a good week too? Awesome. So let's get into the podcast, shall we? Let's start out by saying, hey, if you would like one of the glasses like the one I'm drinking out of, they're coming soon. We are restocking fully, and we're going to send people with the bag glasses. If you got bag glasses, let us know. We'll send you some good ones. We're going to send all our
more good ones.
What's that?
What if I just want more good ones?
That wasn't part of what he said.
I'll send you if you're just
so
like
here's,
we'll sell
so
them in the shop. How about that? I'm gonna place another order the same size. People were asking about the shop. If you got some good glasses and you would like some more, you don't have to come up with a second identity for the Patreon. You'll be able to buy them in the shop at brainstormbrewery.com/shop probably. So that to answer Ryan's question, great. If you've got shitty glasses, we'll send you good ones. If you want more good ones, you can buy them. If you don't have any glasses at all, you're subscribed at $20 per month at patreon.com/brainstormbrewery. You will get the glasses when I get them. So that's the update on that. If you bought a shirt or hoodie and you think it looks like trash from our last TeeSpring order, we have gotten the word now that our only recourse is to send them in for a refund. I'm going to be launching a new campaign. You can just send in the old stuff that looks like crap, and they'll send you a credit to your account. You use that credit to buy the new stuff, and send us a message. I will reimburse you for the cost of shipping the shirt back in. I wish we could do more for you. They will not let us. So I will put instructions in the show notes for how to do that.
You didn't stick Marcel on them, did you?
Well, you know,
Marcel is an experienced customer service.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, if Marcel had done this, we'd be getting free shirts, and they'd
or we'd be getting threatened with a lawsuit. You know,
it goes both ways,
or both. But
Marcel's only got one speed, and that is
full aggro.
Yeah,
he is Rakdos to the heart. He'll never say it, but he really is.
For all the bitching he does about Scalding Tarn, he is certainly Rakdos.
Yep, so that's the update on that kind of stuff. So I guess we can kind of get into some of the standard prices. I've noticed the price of that Steamkin card continues to go up.
Yeah, the card's sweet. I'm really excited about, you know, all the possible modern and legacy brews that people mess with, obviously standard. And then I'm on Facebook, and of course Corbin's shilling himself out. with his TCG articles, and he's got one of those mining modern ones, I think. So Steamkin and like Bushwhacker and stuff. And I kind of didn't even think about the fact that it was Corbin at first, and I just clicked on it. I was like, oh god, I don't want to watch this guy. But I was really interested in the deck, so I started watching. And Corbin's actually pretty entertaining. I have to give it to him. I really liked his series. I end up kind of getting sucked into the black hole that is mining modern, along with his standard brew decks. And he puts on a good series over the TCG player. But he really has to. I have not been so livid and angry and yelling at someone playing Magic since I was a kid watching the Pro Tour or GPs. Like, he got me emotionally invested in a lot of the games, not because the decks were awesome, because they were that, but because he was so bad so often. And just, he made so many of there was just multiple plays. There was one where I sent him a screenshot. I don't remember what it was exactly, but he had a chance. Oh, I do. So he had a Cataclysmic Gearhulk. He's playing this like mono white deck with like tokens and playing the white monument and stuff. This is in modern, and the deck looks pretty sweet. Actually, I was kind of surprised. And so he casts Cataclysmic Gearhulk, blowing his opponent on. His opponent like rebuilds next turn, and Corbin's like, "Oh, I guess we're just dead here." And he has White Mane Lion in his hand. So all he has to do is like cast White Mane Lion, get back Cataclysmic Gearhulk. And instead he just snap concedes. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Corbin, excellent." And so like, there's just multiple points where I got angry at Corbin.
If it's not blue creatures turning sideways with fins, Corbin's really bad at Magic. And if it is blue creatures,
he's really bad at Magic.
He's still not great.
Bad at Magic.
I've learned that Corbin is not as good at Magic as he made us try and believe on this podcast. And now I understand why he only does video and audio and stuff for the Pro Tour and not actually sitting there playing. But yeah, no, that was just my Corbin rant. I did have to give him props. I mean, I sent it in the same message there that we're in that group chat, Jason. So you can attest to this. I went off on quite the tirade, but I did have to give him props. This series is pretty darn good.
Next time you come up with a screenshot and make fun of them, you should post that in our Discord server. Patrons who give us as little as $1 per month, which is 20 to 25 cents an episode, have access to the Discord server, and that's super duper worth it.
The Photoshop skills on a couple of our patrons are unsettlingly.
If you're like, hey,
really?
did Jason get memed a ton for what he said about the Polish? Yes, I did.
So. All right. That's good to know. I'll be putting those services to use. I have some photos of Corbin from a while back at GPs that I think we could have some fun with.
Oh, and if any of you were offended by what we said last week, I just want you guys to know that after what I said about the Polish, my wife did not have sex with me for a week. Not because she's Polish, but because we're married.
I want to know what you said now, but I have to go listen, I guess.
Are you sure it's not because there's a picture of two giraffes having intercourse with your face photoshopped onto one of them? Did she see that picture? In the Discord?
It was so realistic, the Photoshop, I don't want her to think that I cheated on her with a giraffe, so don't show it to her. Because the Photoshop of my face onto the giraffe's head is seamless.
Where? Alright, I gotta go look at Discord now. Where is this?
Maybe in the podcast feedback channel.
Oh, man.
Where our supporters
I'm really bad about it. Everyone knows how notoriously good I am with technology, and I am on this Discord finally. I at least got there, but I don't.
So Ryan's there, Marcel's there, Corbin's there, I'm there.
Corbin's not DJ's there. We have a highly Turing tested bot that is very, very good at acting like Corbin.
I am Corbot.
It's very good at going into the politics channel and accusing everyone of being wrong all the time.
Yeah. If you're not a centrist, you're wrong. So, yeah, I honestly, if you are only mildly interested in this podcast, I think $1 a month is pretty. $12 a year for the amount of entertainment you'll get just from the Discord server, and some of the stuff that you'll get, like announcements we like to make in there. I honestly, I think it's worth $1. I don't know why anyone would give us $20, especially because they're never going to get those glasses. I don't know why anybody would give us more than $1, but I think $1 is pretty reasonable for the amount of value you get.
There's a couple other scaling levels too, between 1 and 20, and one of them will be able to know what this Invasion Red Uncommon is before the next few minutes. You can look it up on a spreadsheet.
Breaking Bolt time. Breaking Bolt time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. end.
I've got an Invasion Red uncommon here. It's never been reprinted.
Invasion Red uncommon. Is it Sheevan Harvest?
Nailed it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that card's so good.
This is a card where you have to read it 3 or 4 times to realize that it's as good as it is. It is very niche in that it only goes in a few certain decks. You can't just throw it in every red deck. But it is 1 in a red enchantment. And then the activation cost is also 1 in a red. Sacrifice a creature, destroy target non-basic land. So all of your creatures become mini Stone Rains, mini Wastelands for
it's
2
so
mana.
good.
And you're just like, oh, that's a Gaia's Cradle, not for this 2 mana and a Goblin token. It's not bonk.
Yeah.
I used to play it in...
Put that card in my deck.
I used to play it in Grixis Marchesa, where my creatures had Undying and sort of reverse Undying, whatever you want to call Marchesa's dethronedness ability.
Dethrone Dying.
Yeah, Dethrone Dying. But it's a very good card in a red X token shenanigan deck just to keep people off. Card Kingdom will happily pay you 12 cents on them. I actually think this is one of those cards where you pull it out of bulk and then you wait for other people to learn how good it is, and then you
wait for them to talk about it on the EDH Rec podcast.
Yeah, you just wait for some
eventually.
other content creator, wait for some video to come out with this card seeing play. It's never been reprinted. It's from Invasion, so the second somebody puts this in an EDH deck tech or anything along those lines, this card suddenly is $1 to $2. I think it's worth more than 10 cents. I probably could have used it as a pick of the week, and I'm just now realizing that. But yeah, Breaking Bulk, Sheevan Harvest.
Alliances Green uncommon.
Is Kaisa rare?
Kaisa is rare.
Okay.
This is under $1 retail, but it's starting to sell out everywhere. Like Card Shark and TCG Player are the only places that have this. Card Kingdom sold out. You know, basically everywhere that gets scraped by MTG price, the only place that's got this is TCG Player.
Ooh.
It's under $1 for now, but this is an uncommon from Alliances. It is green and it is predicated, I will tell you, on the new Amara decks.
Is it the bounty card?
No. The green Force of Will? No.
Yeah.
It's not.
And no, that card's not in Alliances. It's not the Freyalise's card.
Yeah, I was thinking Freyalise's wins, but that's not it.
It's 1 green mana for an enchant creature. I'm giving you guys a lot, but this card's really obscure.
Yeah,
it only started to pop up because of Amara.
Oh, I guess. I hope I'm picking these. I'm going through a bunch of Alliances right now. I don't know what this is. Is it a new pick? Like, was it worth anything before?
It was close to $1 retail. It was just like secretly good, but now it's just starting to sell out at its old price.
Oh, okay. So it's always been worth something.
Uh-huh.
Huh. God, I'm
it was
picking
always a
stuff
pick.
Right now, I should know this.
The card's Nature's Chosen. It's an enchant creature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can pay 0 to untap a creature, and you can only do this once per turn, or you can pay 0 to tap the enchanted creature to untap an artifact, creature, or land. So you put this on Amara, you untap Amara, you tap it again to untap your Gaia's Cradle or whatever, and then you untap Amara to use again. It's it's good.
That's neat.
It was made to go in the Amara decks, basically. You know, it was people were using it Selvala before. Selvala, not the Heart of the Wilds, the other one, Explorer.
Yeah,
Actually, you know what?
Returned.
No, Heart of the Wilds was using this a little bit too. Reese, Yeeson, Roshan, Meanderer, Sese, you know. It's better on white creatures, obviously, than on like Roshan, Meanderer, but it was a pick before. It's in about 300 decks on EDH Rec. I think it goes up because it's starting to sell out, so that's what made me think more people are on it than normal. These Guilds of Ravnica commanders kind of suck. Nobody seems real interested. More people are building. You know, you go on the EDH Rec, the top commanders page, and you expect to see it, you know, just completely populated by the new commanders. But like Muldrotha and Atraxa are still 1 and 2 this week. Then Niv Mizzet, then Marin, Edgar Markov, then Lazov. You know, and then it's not till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 commanders later that Amara, the third Guilds of Ravnica one in the top, 21? So it's not looking good for Guilds of Ravnica.
Yeah, none
all
of
these
the,
commanders. There's nothing new here, right?
They're all good.
I'm surprised.
None of them are actively. Yeah, none of them are actively bad, but none of them do anything new or interesting or exciting that we haven't seen from these color combinations before. Green white's still tokens, red white is still garbage, black blue is still some weird variation of mill. I mean, Atrada's a little interesting.
Atrada's new, but it's so finicky. Nobody seems really interested. Like, if more people were building Atrada, you'd see some of these cards like Visions vanishing.
Yeah,
you know, with the enchanted creature phases out.
She's very, very hard to be successful with, I think.
Yeah, it's just it's just like a blue black good stuff. If Atrada does start to catch on, some of the signature cards in that deck I would pull out of bulk are Vanishing, Flesh Writher, which is a card that transfigures. It's the only card in Magic with the transfigure ability.
Yep, that was my pick of the week a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you're on that, and maybe something like Dimir Houseguard, or what's that card? Distant Memories, maybe, to fish it out of the deck. Because you put it either your command zone or your hand. And if it ends up going in your hand... No, if it ends up going in your command zone because nobody lets you put it in your hand, you draw 3 cards. So it's most likely going to go into your command zone. So that's a good way to fish it out of the deck. But, like, nobody seems excited. So, like, I'm writing these articles for MTG Price where normally I'd be like, oh, shit, here's all the Amara cards about to pop. And it's just, like, not really a thing. I think Nature's Chosen probably could get there, though.
Well,
what's that?
Am I the only one that like really likes the Golgari General?
I mean,
I
she's
felt
not...
like that card. I was like, that's...
I like Izonia a lot,
she's
actually,
but
nobody's building it.
Doesn't feel any thematically different than Savra, Gerard, or Marin, I think.
It feels like a bad Marin.
Really, it feels like an upgrade to me. Maybe not, I guess.
I like the deck a lot.
She feels very similar to Gerard, but Gerard kills the entire table instead of gaining you life. Like, both of those creatures require you to dump a ton of creatures in your graveyard and then play them, but Gerard ends up being like a 12/12 for 4 mana that then you sack a Lord of Extinction and aids the table.
But if you're looking at cards from that deck, Zulaport Cutthroat just got a reprint in M25, Masters 25, so that would be something to look at. Maybe Blood Artist, that got reprinted in Commander like 13 months ago, so that'll be above $2, I think, pretty soon. Journey to Eternity, I think it probably already popped because of Standard.
Yeah.
But that's a card to look at. World Shaper, Creekwood Liege.
There's no, like, Arcades Sabbath, or there's no Hepatra. There's no, like, unique card that spawns a bunch of other previously unknown cards outside of, like, Nature's Chosen, like you said, for Amara. There's, like, 1 or 2 weird cards that might go up a little bit, but...
Well, I have a pick of the week. I have a pick of the week that I think will be in Amara, Trustani, and Izoni, and I think that is enough exposure for it to be a decent pick of the week. Plus, it's a reserve list card, so you guys can probably already guess what it is, but I'm excited about that. But yeah, like, Guild's not doing as much for EDH as we'd hoped. It's just sort of giving us a lot of cards. There's a lot of new cards, that are going in these decks, but...
Yeah, and Guilds also gave us the Guild kits to build around, too. Which, they I don't think anybody who is deeply enfranchised in this game was super hyped about them to start out with. I don't think anybody really expected much of them, but they did give us a few specific reprints that were surprisingly needed. Like, Privileged Position is a card that's gone forever without a reprint. Shattering Spree is another one that everybody's just been waiting for, and that finally got hit.
These decks are really good. I don't know what they cost, but I do know there are like 12 rares and a bunch of really clutch uncommons in these. I think these are going to pull your pants down on some of your like cards you're invested in. Like, I think there might be some stuff you might want to just like maybe try to get out of. But like these decks, if you play them against each other, they're really well balanced against each other. It gives you
feels like a very
those good looking lands. It gives you new art on 5 commanders.
It feels like a very good upgrade to what the dual decks were supposed to be, I think, even if they don't necessarily fill the same role. It's not like you buy one $20 product, then you pay them against each other. You do have to buy 2. But they're very good for just casual level play. They have solid value in them. They're not like, it's not like you're spending the money on the Planeswalker deck, which can be very hit or miss. It's just like you just spend the $20 on your guild kit, and then you have a solid product to play with friends, play casually, just sort of bring back that flavor style magic that a lot of people are
say you wanted to build an Amara deck, you're going to want the Tristani, the Loxodon Hierarch, the Venerated Loxodon, the Armada Worm, probably. You'll probably want one of the Selesnya Evangels. You might want the Guild Mage. like the camaraderie, the Call of the Conclave, the Hour of Reckoning. Like, you're gonna take so many of these cards, and then you get into the really good stuff like Glare of Subdual, Growing Ranks, Privileged Position, and Conclave Tribunal.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
This is a solid. This is $20 to get you like halfway to an EDH deck for a commander that didn't have a precon. So like I think this is a good EDH starter too, because like you're gonna have all the stuff you need.
Yeah,
and plus some really sexy basic lands.
And one of the other aspects of Ravnica that we all really enjoy is that you can definitely predict a lot of the next cards over the next few months, because they have to synergize and equalize what the guilds get. If one guild gets something, every other guild has to get it too. So we know there's going to be lockets, we know there's going to be shocklands, and we know there's going to be a cycle of 5 guild kits. So we're going to have an Orzhov guild kit. There's a couple reprints in there that we can sort of predict, because all of the cards in these guild kits are from one specific set on any of the 3 Ravnica blocks.
Well, first of all, they have quite a few legendary creatures, like Aurelia the War Leader, Argus Kos, Razia.
Argus? Is it Argus or Agros?
Agros, whatever, man. I've never looked at this card. He's terrible.
He's the main character of the original Ravnica novels.
I didn't read the books because I wanted to talk to girls, so I didn't read the books.
They're very good. Ryan, back me up here. The magic novels are very good for Ravnica.
The Ravnica one was fine.
Good.
It was super middle of the road.
Ryan. Like, they're...
Like, it's nowhere, like... I mean, you want the really good ones, you gotta go back. Surprisingly, I feel like Magic writing got worse over the years.
I mean, Kamigawa is very good.
They will never make a better book than Arena, so they should just...
Brothers War. That was my favorite.
Kamigawa and Brothers War are the 2 best, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It's all about that Arena, man. It's all about
shit.
Gareth One Eye and the Turquoise Guild. Come on, guys. You don't remember the Turquoise Guild?
Man, I actually, like... Yumazawa, like Toshiro Yumazawa was my dude in middle school. That was when that came out for me, and I actually enjoyed those books a lot. Like, more than just as a Magic book.
Middle school?
You're old, Jason.
I was in college, Jesus.
I might have been high school. What year was that?
I think it might have been high school. You're not that much younger.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I was like a junior in high school then. Never mind. I don't know why I was thinking it was so much
I was going to say, I was in middle school in 2006, 2007, so...
Jesus.
No, you weren't. You were like in elementary school.
No.
Don't.
I was in 6th grade in 1996.
The grade year matched up for the year for me. So 6th grade was 2006, 7th grade was 2007. I graduated high school in 2012.
Oh, so you're exactly 10 years younger than me, because the year matched up with me for the grade too. I was in 6th grade in 96, 7th grade in 97.
Yep.
So you're exactly 10 years younger than me? Jesus. No wonder you don't know anything.
Mine's way off. I graduated in 2006, so I'm like right between the two of you. I'm closer to Jason by a year. So I'm 4 years younger than Jason, 6 years older than DJ. It makes sense.
That's cool.
How old are you,
I
DJ?
think
20.
No, you're like 20, right?
23.
So what do we think will be in the Simic deck? I'm kind of thinking there would just be like basically most of the legends, and then probably some pretty good cards, like maybe a Void Slime or a Plasm Capture or both.
Plasm Capture's been hit
right?
to death. Please no.
I could. Man, I would not hate a Void Slime reprint.
Void Slime I want. Kraj I want for sure. Kraj is kind of hard to find. Especially in near mint copies. That card's impossible to find in near mint.
I want the +1/+1 counter creatures, because every time they like put +1/+1
Cytoplast Manipulator
in anything.
Yeah,
so it's one of those things where like
Plaxcaster Frogling.
The Simic deck could be terrible, and likely will be, because there's not much value in Simic to begin with. But that deck could be terrible, and all it takes is for them to put a product out that like builds off +1/+1 counters and gives you graft and everything else, and that will just make a bunch of those Simic cards that didn't get reprinted in these things go up. So
well,
I'm all about that.
There are 2 manipulators. There's Cytoplast Manipulator and Simic Manipulator, and they both like it's like one's like gain control of a creature with a 1/1 counter on it and it has graft, and the other one has evolve and you get a creature with lower power. So like those could both be in the deck. Like the deck actually wouldn't be that bad if you can just like steal their creatures that often. So like it could be good. Orzhov, I think Jim Casale said on Twitter is probably Debtor's Knell. There's probably Teysa and like, some stuff like that.
Some Teysa.
Maybe some of the Haunt stuff. Maybe like Sins of the Past or something like that.
But I also think Haunt is just a very difficult mechanic for like the target audience of this product to grasp.
Yeah, Haunt
That's
was
true,
a
and
weird
and
mechanic.
Extort's pretty easy.
Extort's very
Well, there was
easy,
there
very
was
quick.
one. There was like a terror, and then you put it on a creature, and then when that creature dies, you get to terror again. That doesn't.
Yeah,
seem
but
too
it's very
hard.
confusing.
Destroy target non-black, non-white creature, and then you put a spirit into play, and then something when the spirit dies, you destroy another non-black, non-white creature.
No,
Yes.
it's
No, it's
whenever
the haunted
you
creature.
haunted,
You don't have to haunt the
doesn't
spirit
have
it
to
makes.
die. You can't haunt the spirit.
Right, that's right.
Yeah. So
The point being, the mechanic is awful.
Gruel. Is there any Gruel card even worth money?
Probably.
Borborygmos Enraged is slightly above bulk mythic status.
Because there's like, I mean, there is good Gruel stuff in EDH, but like there's nothing really in Ravnica
From the
block.
guilds, no.
There was like giant Solifuge and rumbling slum and shit like that. Like I don't even know. Hey guys, we reprinted Burning Tree Shaman. You're welcome. Like I don't know, man.
I feel like there's some uncommons, right?
Like what?
Burning Tree Emissary, but that's been reprinted to death.
Yeah.
No. I thought there was at least one good Gruel uncommon from the original set. Maybe I'm crazy.
Uncommon? No, I can't
Because
think.
I guess
anything.
if Shattering Spree is it?
Yeah.
The Shattering Spree already just got reprinted. It's in the Izzet Guild kit.
I'm just confused. I thought Shattering Spree was a Gruel card.
No, it's
it
got
has
replicate.
a quote from Bobo
Oh,
Rignos
yeah, you're
on
right.
it,
It does
doesn't
have
it?
replicate. Duh. What's that?
Doesn't it have a quote from Bobo Rignos on it?
Maybe that's why I thought it was Gruel. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it.
But yeah,
Rakdos
has nothing. Jesus.
What's in Rakdos?
Reign
the
of
Witch.
Gore. Reign of
Yeah,
Gore is
Reign of
worth
Gore,
something.
maybe. Wasn't there was a cranial extraction that
Gore's
we
a-
thought was the best cranial extraction, and then they just went and gave us a
Slaughter
better
Pet-
one.
or
Technically, you could
Slaughter
get
Games?
Infernal Tutor.
No. It's
Ooh,
not gonna happen.
I don't know about that.
Please don't. If that's the reprint, I'm gonna be ticked. That means I have to just go buy my Japanese foil copies. I'm waiting for
Well,
them to
there
reprint
won't
that in
be
a
foil.
master set.
Yeah, like I don't
that's
think
the problem.
Guild
If they
kit is
reprint it
gonna-
here, they're not gonna put it in a master set, which means I have to go and pony up for the fucking $600 Japanese foil ones now.
I thought you
want it
said
to get
that deck was
reprinted so
done.
It's got. I mean, it is finished. It's just those aren't Japanese. I have one German and
So
three
it's not
Spanish.
done.
No, it is done. Everything's Japanese, or everything's foreign foil. It's just not all Japanese.
It's
foil yet.
good, but it's not good enough.
Right. It's not finished, but it's done. It's
It's
playable.
done, but it's not finished. Jesus, way to equivocate.
Dude, do you know how hard it is to find some of these cards?
I mean,
Like, I have foreign foil of everything in there. There's just some versions that I want to upgrade still. Well, it's
So
like my Bayou. I
so
don't know if I want my Bayou
What
to...
does a listener do knowing that there's 5 more guild kits going to come out? They're going to have 12 or 13 rares in them. It's going to have a lot of commanders, a lot of uncommon staples that are like $3, $4 cards. What do? Do you worry about it, or do you try to dump some of the stuff that you think is likely to be in the deck?
I mean,
You're
if
looking
it's,
at
if it's something like above $5 or $6 and you really have no use for it and it's just sitting in your binder, then yeah, absolutely get rid of it. But I wouldn't. If you're somebody who like plays a Grand Arbiter August in the 4th deck and you play it every now and again, I wouldn't go to sell your copy and then proxy one and then try to buy it back later based on an expecting reprint. I would just acknowledge the fact that the card probably goes down $5 or $6.
But if you're someone like me that just was sorting cards and found 48 copies of Shattering Spree, and you know they're about to go down a little bit,
I
you're
would
going to
hold
feel
them.
bad. So I'm going to try to avoid feeling bad on anything that's likely to be these other 5 guilds. I don't know what those cards are yet, but like I'm sure if I sit down and think about how I'd construct the deck, if you're telling me like I'm going to have like 4 or 5 Azorius Legends in the deck, what kind of support cards do you have? You can probably figure out pretty close to what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I would just.
Well,
like,
and even if you just go and pull up each block and look at each card that's,
Yep.
say over $5, because anything under $5 you just don't worry about. Whatever. If you had it, you lost a couple of bucks, who cares? And this list is gonna be short. I think you're probably looking at 30 cards that aren't shocklands between the sets.
Yeah.
Like it's not, in each guild, I should say. And I don't. Yeah, I mean that's including uncommon things like remand and stuff. So I don't think it would take you.
Yeah,
long
I
to
mean,
construct
like
a list that you're
maybe
concerned about.
Supreme Verdict is in the Azorius deck. That seems like a likely inclusion, but
But that just got blown out anyway. So like,
Or
what are you gonna do?
D-Sphere.
what did Supreme
What are you
Verdict
gonna
get
do?
blown
Move
out
your
in?
Supreme Verdict? Huh?
What did Supreme Verdict get blown out in?
Or wait, what am I thinking of? What got?
I don't know.
One of them got it in Masters.
When's the
25.
last time Supreme Verdict was printed? What if we had access to the internet? We could look it up so we don't.
I mean,
sound
I
like
just-
total idiots. It was an iconic Masters, but it's all the way
There you
back
go.
up to like $5.
Yeah, but it recovered from that, so.
Yeah, but it's still like $5. It's not like that big of a deal, I guess is what I'm saying. And I also don't think these guild kits are going to hurt as much. I mean, obviously not nearly as much as a master set. Certainly not as much as a
because
standard
what'll
reprint.
happen is these will get bought up by casual players, and they don't have a tendency to put a lot of those copies into the market. And I don't think these are worth buying from a financial aspect to bust them for singles, because it's going to be real close to $20 like before the prices tank, and then these will be like $14 decks pretty soon, and it's just not going to be worth it.
Yeah, nobody's going out and like fire selling all their Boros Charms or Lightning Helixes because that card was in the deck. I didn't know that card was in the deck until today. I've still been selling consistent Boros Charms and Lightning Helixes just because that's a card that nobody's
I think it's Helices.
Helices?
Well,
yeah.
Well, either way,
I'm helping.
It really doesn't matter, right? Like, say Lightning Helix, Boros Charm. From a buyer's perspective, too, say I'm a player and I need Boros Charms or Lightning Helixes, even if it's for a month away, and I know this product's getting printed before then, like, who cares? I'm spending an extra $1 at most to not get these new copies. I already have them in hand. They're guaranteed. Like, again, these kind of products, I don't feel like... I think we can compare it to something more like Arch Enemy.
Yep.
Like, that's really the way this feels, whereas in, like, you look at Arch Enemy Nicol Bolas, yeah, some cards got hit really hard from that, but any card that was... like, already a staple in either Modern, Legacy. Like, look at something like Grim Lavamancer from that. Grim Lavamancer, I believe, is actually more now than it was before it got reprinted in that.
Yeah, like Path to Exile and all those staples, just shrug it off.
Yeah. So something like Shattering Spree coming out of this, I'm not concerned about
Banner
at
and
all.
Explorers of Ixalan is another one that just shrugged it off.
Right, exactly. I think this is going to do that to any of the... So, like, the cards I would worry about are things more like your Grand Arbiter and stuff like that, where it's... it's playable, and that's why it's expensive, but it's also expensive because I haven't seen a reprint since, Modern Masters 1?
Yeah.
That's the cards to worry about.
So
I just
Ryan,
wouldn't be worried
did you
about things like
break bulk
Shattering
after all
Spree.
that tirade? After all all of our tirades?
I forgot,
I did
dude.
early on.
We're 2 topics deep later, and you're like, no,
I'm bringing it
you
back.
must give us a breaking bulk. It's a
my
very
God.
important
Here,
segment.
I got a handful of picks here. I'm gonna pick one.
I didn't want the listeners to go without 3 breaking bulks this week. Thank me in the Discord, everyone.
I think it's Breaking's bulk.
Breaking Z's bulk. Okay.
It's actually Helices bulk.
Episode title right there.
Helices bulk.
How about
does
the
not
title
sound
is
like-
Ryan doesn't have a breaking bulk pick, and he's not doing a very good job stalling.
I had one, and then
It got lost in the Cheeto dust. I
Yeah, we
understand.
got talking, and I completely forgot what it was. Let's continue, and I will interrupt at some point and give you my breaking bulk. How's that? Now I'm just looking through a handful of cards to actually find one. So,
Well, you guys left it up to me to drive the bus, but we didn't come up with another main topic to talk about after guild kits.
oh, we're already through all the topics.
Yeah, man.
Now you're really putting pressure on me.
Yeah. So you better cough up a breaking bulk while DJ cops up a main topic, or we're going to do a 30-minute podcast this week. This is what happens when we don't have Corbin on here to just be like, duh, I'm going to make everything take longer than it needs to. Did I tell you a 10-minute rambling story about a time that I ordered a cheeseburger at a GP? And we're just like...
It's true. This was a very efficient podcast. I will give it that, if nothing else. Like, we blew through all those topics. Like,
maybe we should just cut it
off.
off here so that dude on Reddit that says we spend too much time talking about not finance stops not recommending our podcast.
Do we care?
Oh, yeah. We care very much what some dude on Reddit says. Are you kidding me?
Okay, sarcasm. Good.
No, real talk, I do care very much what he says. Why don't you like our podcast? I don't care what you think, you fuck, but why don't you like it? Not that it matters, but tell us why. But not that I care.
But
I've been thinking about what you said a lot. No, I don't.
Well, here's
I don't
something
know, man.
that I was thinking about. Channel Fireball recently announced, somewhat last minute, that they were changing the format of Vancouver at the end of the year. It was originally supposed to be team limited, and now it has just been changed to limited, which means that there's a lot of people who had flights booked. There's a lot of people who were excited to play with their friends. In this GP, and now it is just they're going to be playing by themselves. I mean, Channel Fireball's made a lot of interesting decisions regarding the GP circuit over the past year. What do you guys think of this one?
That one I like. I think a lot of it probably comes from their predictive ability to look at these Canadian GPs, which have had lower attendance the past couple, and go, if we do team limited, it's in Vancouver.
We're team limiting the number of people that'll want to play in the event, huh?
Right. Like, sometimes it's a good thing, and I think if it's an easily accessible city, team limited is great. But I think when you put these restrictive formats on places that are not necessarily the most accessible, you really cut down the number of people who are going to go to these events. So I'm a pretty big fan of this one.
So
I think it was the right call.
You think you just take the PR hit, and as opposed to just taking the actual
I don't think it's a
hit?
PR hit. I think you spin it the other direction. You say, look, we've looked at what the players want, and in these remote areas, these kind of formats don't really fly. We want more people to have access to Magic. I think you spin this as like you are paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who argues with that just isn't seeing what GPs in Canada have been doing over the past year. So,
yeah, they're noticing trends. I like the fact that they're nimble. Like, I'm sorry about your flight, but like, just go to the GP anyway. Go hang out. Like,
there's also no legacy
it sucks.
GP
Those
announced,
people,
though. They haven't announced an actual legacy GP, and that's definitely a format where you have more enfranchised players. You have people that work like a 9 to 5 or just like a regular job, where you have to, you're more an older player base, I guess, for legacy GPs, and those are the kind of players that would rather take off a weekend in advance, like over the course of 6 months or a year in advance. And there's been some backlash over the GP schedule because of that, because these players want to know when the legacy GP is so they can schedule it.
I think they're trying to fit in they're trying to incorporate their Magic Fest idea into like the GP schedule, so there's going to be some friction there the first year they do it, and it's tough. They're not doing a great job.
It'll get better over time.
I mean, they did call it a transition year.
It is a transition year, and
it's
some people are gonna be upset. Like, people in Australia are pissed that there's fewer Pacific GPs. Like, I don't know. Every change is gonna piss somebody off, so don't even make the mistake of saying that you think a change is good or bad, because just stay out of it. So we should stay out of it. I'm sorry, some people that had a flight booked to Vancouver don't get to go play a stupid team limited event that nobody wants to play, judging by the 40 people at GP Detroit. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, everything's bad for somebody, and we certainly don't want to ignore somebody's perspective by saying that we like a change that's for the better. So let's just stay out of it. Who cares? Sorry about your flight. Right? Like, what financially relevant even comes out of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really.
No, I mean, that's fair.
All right, so I have my breaking bulk. I found a card.
Found a card.
I bought you time.
I like this card a lot. So Scourge, uncommon, black.
Unspeakable symbol.
Dang, this kid is good. I've always liked this card. It's still consistently the same price.
I told you I played Marchesa
last time.
Yeah, it's a Marchesa card, but like, yeah, anything with like Undying. What's the one where this is better?
This was worth money before Marchesa.
No, I know, but she's the one that made it spike.
It didn't know. It was worth the same amount. This has always been like $1 for a really long time.
The foil spiked for sure, I think.
That's plausible. I didn't know if it had received a reprint yet.
Like
so
$20.
Oh.
This was like 4 years ago.
Foil garbage prices.
This is still under $1 retail most places, but like it wasn't always a pick.
It's like $1.30, $1.40 on TCG, I think. But yeah, it's always been a fine pick, but
these are 30 cents on Card Kingdom.
Really, you can buy them for 30 cents near mint? Or
near mint, 20 available. 28 cents EX, so yep.
That's insane, because that used to be where I sold them to.
Well, they probably got a lot, because you're like, oh, you want these? Here's 250.
No, I don't think we ever got that much of a card like
that. We got
this.
these in bulk for years. These was just, they're in bulk for years. This is also a $6 foil, so people are clearly aware that it's an EDH card.
Yeah, they're buying it for 6 cents now. Huh. Fair.
Yep. I've been sitting on these because, like, nobody's super eager to take them now.
Yeah, but this is also just the kind of card that if you have a TCG player storefront, you can throw it in there at like $89.99, and as you add more to your inventory and as you add more cards that synergize with this, it's more likely to be picked up by a player who's ordering 5 or 6 cards from you, and then you get a lot more bang for your buck when you ship it out in a plain white envelope with no tracking on like a $10 order, and you get sort of the full like 67-80 cents for this card as opposed to buy listing it, and especially if you're not in a rush to sell it and if you only have like 2 or 3 copies.
Yeah.
Legit.
I like it.
All right, what else we got to talk about? Are we just jumping finance segment to finance segment?
This is a finance podcast. I like it. What non-finance do you want to talk about, Ryan?
Well,
We
no, I'm
pretty
saying,
much
but
covered
like,
all the Mighty Ducks movies in the last couple of years. So,
but I'm saying we can go from breaking bulk right into pick of the week.
We
or
can talk
try
about
and find
Sears
something
going
else.
bankrupt.
yeah.
No need to talk about that. That just turns into politics. That'll anger me.
Did I have something ready? Was I ready to ding Trump by saying that Steven Mnuchin was on Sears' board for years and he picked him to be his Treasury Secretary? Did I have that locked and loaded? Perhaps.
Yeah. Did I know that you had that locked and loaded? Absolutely.
But where's Corbin to bring his centrist perspective in? That's what we need in every political... We just alienated half our audience.
Well, I mean,
that's a quote you guys can hear in Brainstorm Brewery episode 200 part 2, which just went live this week, Monday, which is today that we record this, but like a couple days ago, listen to this. So like you probably got it in your podcasting app or whatever, but if you haven't listened to Brainstorm Brewery episode 200 part 2, it came out after episode 300, if that tells you anything about how much work Marcel put into it. So
you also may want to go back and listen to part 1 again, considering it's been like 3 months since we released it.
It's been a long time.
6.
Whatever.
It's
It's
been
some
a long
amount.
time. So let's not alienate half our listeners by
What about this
talking
news
about
article
politics.
about nude man leaps into Toronto aquarium shark tank, swims laps with the sharks before giving police the slip?
You know, as much as Corbin is just dog shit on this podcast and it adds nothing, when he's not here, we don't have topics. We sat for 15 minutes before this podcast started, and I was like, what is our segment going to be between Breaking Bulk and Pick of the Week? And you guys are like, we can talk about the TV schedule, and that took 10 seconds.
You're misidentifying. Well, we could talk about some more. We didn't even touch on Vegas. I said you could, and you were like, nobody's finding it. It's not relevant.
Vegas is happening. Okay,
yeah,
so
why
here's
don't
the
we
thing.
announce to listeners what weekend so we can start prepping for that?
So here's what we can do. What's the level for the party, DJ? The Patreon goal? Is it 1750 or 2000? What was it?
Talk slower so I can find it before there's a dead silence.
Okay, everyone.
It is 2000.
There we go. I talked too slow. You didn't tell me how slow to talk. When our Patreon at patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery gets to $2,000 per month, which we think is an achievable goal based on the number of people who listen to this podcast and have $1 to give us, we're going to throw a special party at a Grand Prix where we're going to invite lots of people, but our patrons will get in early.
Corbin put it at 1750. Cool.
Okay, 1750 then, which
That's
is
close.
super achievable. That's very close. What we should do is we should push for that now because we can't plan for it until we hit the goal, and we got to pick a GP, and we don't want to pick a GP that happens like, you know, in the past. We're like, oh, we'll do St. Louis, and then we don't hit 1750. So if you want to be a part of this,
We're not doing GP
party,
St. Louis. Don't threaten people with that.
Indianapolis. Yeah, you'll get shot in the face in St. Louis. Indianapolis probably, or God forbid Vegas. Vegas would be a good place to do it because we're all going to already be there, but there's too much going on in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Not Vegas.
But we might have to resort to Vegas, which is in like November or something, way later. It's like August or something?
It's August.
July? August, Jesus.
I
All right.
mean,
it'll
we
be in
could rent
August
out-
next year, but like we
what are we
would like
doing?
to
Renting
pick
out
a
a
good
ballroom or
GP.
something?
So we need to get our Patreon up to 1750.
We can do it in Detroit.
Detroit? Yeah, that's
It's a
good
good time.
for you.
It's a good time of year. It's actually we have a lot of people come to Detroit. It's very centralized.
We just had GP Detroit 2 months ago.
Yeah, and it's in August of next year.
Okay, so Ryan clearly doesn't think that we'll get to 1750 before like 11 months from now.
It's got to hold there for like 3 months, right? And then you got to start planning it.
Wow. We would like to get to 2000 so we can do the episode where our wives come on and shit talk us.
Oh, that's happening. Oh boy.
That's at 2,000. Yeah.
Oh boy.
It'll happen.
I might have to front load those numbers again.
Whether they know it or not, it's happening.
I mean,
Those
we
6
didn't think we'd
Patreon
get to
accounts really
500 a year ago, right? I didn't think
Wait.
we would get to 500 a year ago. So, like, we're obviously blown away by the amount we're getting. But we want to give you guys an incentive to push it. We want to give you guys something to strive for. So let's strive for 1750 so we can pick an event, start planning a party. We're going to spend all the money you guys give us every year. That's what we do. We just blow all of it. So let's blow all of it on you guys. The patrons will get access to the party early. They'll drink for free or something. We'll make it worth it for the patrons. And then you just get to party with other Magic people plus us. We'll deign to mingle with you in real life. So
If you're a
that's the
$10
thing you want-
patron, I'll let you bridge shuffle my Bounty deck and play it unsleeved. Maybe.
mingling. If you're a $40 patron, I will make eye contact with you. There's all kind of perks you get. So
Is that really a perk? I've had your eye contact before. Hard pass.
which one of your eyes, Ryan?
Not some sort of Corbin. Only has one good one.
You do have the astigmatism though, so all right.
Yeah, they both shake like my legs.
All right. This is
anyway.
real. This is good after hours.
Degen City. But no, I mean that's cool. I'm excited. Parties. I'm actually more excited now about the wife episode. I think I'm a little sad that Marcel's not going to be around for that one because his girl would be the one I'd be more excited to hear. Granted, we've probably also heard her the most on the cast before.
Just yelling in the background at him.
Yeah. oh, many a times if we heard Marcel, it's just like, oh, we know you're in the shit. Usually it's before we record, so most of our listeners don't get that pleasure. But
Ryan's talking about some shit from 2 years ago when Marcel was on the cast regularly. He would just be trying to start the episode, and the girl would be yelling at him for the other room.
Oh, it was good times.
Yeah.
But no. I'm
Now he's
excited to
got
hear you
another
guys.
girl yelling at him from another room.
Yeah. Well, that's what babies do.
Boy, we ran out of steam. Who cares, right? Magic sucks.
It's
Magic
a lull.
Finance
I mean,
sucks.
until we have the Pro Tour, everyone's just kind of like brewing right now. Prices are moving, but nothing's like going to hit until we start getting some real results. And next couple of weeks are going to be exciting, but we're really in that like eye of the storm right now.
Yeah,
the
this
new
Guilds
shit.
is doing nothing for EDH, so we have nothing to talk about there. We don't know
Right.
what is done to standard yet.
Well, and like we got all the hypothesis out of the way, right? So there's all these cards like Experimental Frenzy or whatever that started off at bulk that have like shot up to that $3, $4, $5 range, Steamkin, stuff like that. And then there's the cards that were a little overvalued at first, and those have started coming down. Even your Assassin's Trophy,
Mission briefing.
right, stuff like that. But everything's really an adjustment period until we see what's going on with the Pro Tour. So, like, for the last week or so, and probably for the next week or so, there's really not going to be much adjustment because everybody's kind of got the cards they want to brew with until they see results from actual pros and stuff. No one has any reason to change. It might be moving some cards around here and there, but I highly doubt you're going to see somebody pick up a brand new archetype next week when they just built their last deck, last week. They're going to wait for some results before they do that. And so I think it's a good time to just, settle in, get the cards you want. If you... this will be a tie into my pick of the week, but I think there's a number of cards in guilds now that are okay to jump on. And, even if they go down a little bit, I think that there's just as good of a chance that the tournament results from the Pro Tour and stuff could drive some of these cards up.
Should I talk slow so you can type in the email password? At least
Actually,
DJ's not
don't.
Corbin. Corbin's like, oh, we should read emails. Let me go get a separate computer and have that with me next to this. He has to go get his laptop because he doesn't want to type in a password.
This one's
Well,
pretty
yeah,
old,
'cause
but I
nothing
can
in
buy
this-
it sometime. This one's about a month old.
All right. Are they a patron? How bad should I feel about not reading it for a month?
Slightly.
Okay.
From Jace Kent. Hey Brew Crew, love the cast and have a question about a couple random cards. I'm putting together a full set of Weatherlight, which is really weird and specific, but okay, and came across the card Tariff. This is where you make Jason or Corbin read the card because that's what BSB does. Jason, read the card.
Let me pull up Tariff. I was not...
I don't
I'm
think you
sans
organized his
Tarif
email
right
very
now.
well.
Each player chooses a creature with the highest converted mana cost he or she controls, then pays mana equal to the cost, or sacks the creature. It was reprinted in 6th edition, which probably could have something to do with the fact that it's under $1.
I understand it's a symmetrical effect, but this seems super powerful and super friends in other non-creature based decks in EDH. Will this card ever be worth more than $1? For what it's worth, it's not on the reserve list. Also, while on the subject of underrated white removal, what do you think of the top end of Ixalan's Binding could be as standard rotates? Sent from my voice-activated, touchscreen-equipped, vibration-enabled, internet-controlled porn viewer. Sent from my iPhone.
Wow.
That card sucks, man. It's worse than... You got so much white removal you could play. Like, why would you ever play something like that?
Ixalan's Binding's not an EDH card.
No. Oh, no, it's not. Like, I was talking about Tariff, though.
Oh, that card too, yeah. I don't like either of
Yeah,
these.
no, I mean, I really thought I was expecting Jason to come in and be like, yeah, I could put it in this deck and this deck, and we have to, like, tear him down, but I completely agree.
No, it's garbage. It's garbage. I'm sorry.
Like, it's
sorry,
not even
sometimes
guaranteed
cards are
removal.
bad.
Like, if you're in the late game and your opponent has, like, 2 creatures in play and one of them costs 4 mana, like, there's a reasonable chance they have 4 mana just sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, you get swords, you get path, you get, like, Merciless Eviction,
Right,
you
and I
get
assume it's not an
Austere
instant, so you
Command,
can't, like...
you get, like, all these other... You get
Right, and this is
Oblivion
probably a
Ring, you get...
sorcery.
I would play Oblation over this.
Yeah, you get
I would play
Oblivion
a
Ring, you
lot.
get
I would play,
Detention
like,
Sphere,
Reciprocate over this card.
You get Anguished Unmaking, you get all these other...
No, just like...
I understand
mean,
that it hits
sometimes
everybody, and that's
like,
good, but...
Yeah, Cataclysm is a symmetrical effect. Like, symmetrical effects aren't always bad, but this is just too symmetrical.
It's a symmetrical and just a Punisher effect. And Punisher effects are already questionable. And then a Punisher
Apparently,
effect...
unless they have Jumpstart, and then they're amazing.
Right, and that's why I say questionable, right? But, like, no Punisher effect is really that good in EDH.
Torment to Hailfire is technically a Punisher effect.
Yeah,
okay,
you're getting punished
but-
by letting me have a...
Sure, but that's like an extreme, right? Like,
I know,
that's not a you pay 6 life or you do this. It's like literally you're dead no matter what.
No, I
you
know.
do.
That card is add 1 mana, deal 9 damage. The ratios in that card are absurd.
Right. And so, I mean, I feel like Punisher mechanics already are pretty suspect, especially for multiplayer. And this one is a Punisher effect that, like, even if you're sitting at, say, a 4-player table, if you're playing a deck with any creatures, it could hit you. And if you're not, great, but, like, there's, just play Wrath at that point. Why does your 1 mana matter that much? And you're probably going to hit maybe one other player at the table that's impactful, or that just swords that creature. Because, like, you're going to get maybe 2 ancillary creatures off the other 2 players, best case scenario. And probably at least one of those 2 creatures didn't matter at all.
Yep, that sounds all right to me. So, yeah, we're not big on Tariff. It's cool that you came across it, trying to put together a set of Weatherlight, but this is under $1
For a reason.
for a reason.
We do not have any additional emails in the bank, so send us emails at brainstormbrew@gmail.com. We will prioritize patron emails, but...
You can send us an email every week if you're a patron, and I think a lot of people are taking advantage of the fact that they can just ask us anything they want in Discord, but, like, we can read your email on the podcast, say your name on the podcast. We're not saying your name if you don't send us an email.
Yeah, if you talk poorly of us in the Discord, we will read it and talk poorly about you back. But if you want to meme or mention recurring jokes, or if you want to shit talk Corbin and talk about his milk addiction, all of these things will be said on air if you actually send us an email. Also, there is a perk where instead of an email, if you want to send an audio clip, that works.
Oh
too.
yeah, that's been 0 people have
We
taken
thought
us up
that was
on
such a cool idea.
Yeah, I know. We were like, oh, we could play the audio clips, and we discussed the mechanics of, like, the technological hurdles to getting that implemented, and we finally figured out how we would do that technologically, played on the cast, and everyone's just like, no, suck my entire ass, Brainstorm Brewery. You get no audio.
Yep, that's exactly what they said.
They did.
Sander sent in a video clip, but he thought that
weird.
he thought he would get priority, but he's not a patron higher than the $10 level, so send us emails.
We should play it, because Sander's a super fan. You don't piss off your super fans, because those are the people that turn into super stans, and they know where you live.
Yeah, he certainly knows where we all live. He has my address. Yeah. Well, no, he has my old address.
He's like, oh, could I buy a card from you? And then...
Yeah.
He's wearing your wife's face as a mask when you get home, which is fine.
Is it?
Yeah, man, that's fine.
Wow, that's a
Like,
different
don't
reaction.
certainly don't kill my wife in front of my daughter. Like, I don't need that. Like, I don't need to explain to my daughter why mommy's dead but daddy's not all that upset. Like, I don't need to have that conversation.
Just make it like Dexter season 4 finale, where you don't tell them until like a week after they get back from Disneyland.
Yeah, take her. Yeah, I'll take my daughter to Disneyland. She's like, "When's mommy coming home?" Well, she's not. This is
Well,
new
I
mommy,
mean, kind
who's
of,
2
if
years
he's-
younger than old mommy.
If he's wearing your, if he's wearing her face, it's kind of like mommy, right?
Oh yeah, I think Sander would be a good cohabiting domestic partner. He wouldn't want to live here because our healthcare sucks, though. But
I mean, he'd be just as miserable with you as she is. So, I mean, solved.
yeah, I don't have to change any of my behavior. That'd be good.
Right. I mean, yeah, we won't go any further with that because I go down some dark holes.
This is a dark road.
That would be a good movie plot. Like a super fan just like moves into,
And,
into
like,
someone's
you-
house, and like after a week,
thinks-
they're like, "I need to leave. You do not pick up your socks." I'm like, "Yeah, well, my real wife who had that face before said the same shit.
yeah.
Nothing new."
Yeah, you're not allowed to leave. Like, it turns out, like, you think at the beginning of the movie that, the super fan's going to come in, they're going to call the cops or whatever and, like, get this dude arrested. The guy's like, nah, you can just stay. It's no big deal, whatever. Didn't care that much about her. And then, like, by the end, the super fan is actually the victim.
I won't let him leave. That's
No, go do the laundry again! But,
That's a good Halloween time movie plot.
It's a Misery spinoff where it's just like
Yeah. But it's like it's combining Misery with the dude who broke into Stephen King's house with a box full of pencil erasers and popsicle sticks that he said was a bomb.
Wait, what?
Some dude broke into Stephen King's house and he said he had a bomb, but it was just like pencil erasers and like paper clips and stuff like this that like he's like, "It's a bomb, Stephen King." Yeah, he was just like in his house. So now Stephen King has a gate, I guess. Or a dog named Cujo. I don't know what he's doing to protect himself. But yeah, like it's a combination of that and Misery. Like the guy busts in, he's like, "Yeah, I don't care about your bomb, but like put on that apron and do some dishes. Chop, chop." And then he's breaking the dude's ankles because he tried to get away. I like it. You've seen Misery, by the way, but you haven't seen Star Wars?
I have never seen Misery. I just know the plot.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
What do you mean, what do I mean? Why do you know the plot for Misery?
Because it seemed interesting, so I just read about it on Wikipedia instead of watching it.
He's got
Instead
a
of reading
fetish.
the book?
He's got a fetish for hobbling.
I'm not reading a book like a fucking virgin, but I will read a plot summary. All right, cool, man. That's super
Like, I just
cool.
wanted to know how it ended, so I just...
What is wrong with you?
She runs over a cop with a lawnmower. I think that's how it ended.
God, you are...
That's when I came, anyway. What?
DJ, you are the worst of people sometimes.
I'm okay with that.
I just want to know how it ended, so I refuse to watch the movie. What's wrong with you?
It's more efficient. It's better EV.
What are you, a robot?
Yeah, you're right. Not getting
Emotions are
amusement.
inefficient. Must slap wife.
Like, you have to have your... If you have to have your entertainment come in efficiency, then there's a problem. Speaking of entertainment, though, and something I know you're happy about, and
C9?
I know that, like, probably, yeah, only about 20% of our listeners probably give a shit about, but Cloud9, first North American team in a while to make the top 8, right? Of
No,
Worlds?
they made it last week. Or they made it last year.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah,
it
but they didn't do well last year, did they?
They died in the quarterfinals last year, but this year was
They made the quarterfinals.
I mean, quarterfinals
Well,
is top 8.
Yeah,
But
they
they
but
made
this year they
quite
were
the
definitely not
miraculous
supposed to
gauntlet
make
run
it.
this year. It was it was ridiculous. They
Arguably the two hardest teams going in were in there for the team part of it, and they came out
It was
in
a
second
4-team
place.
group, and they slaughtered both of the Korean teams that they were predicted to just get killed by.
Yeah, the one Korean team didn't actually make it to the elimination round,
And it was
or to
last
the
year's
top 8.
world champions.
Yeah,
They just
that's
shit the
crazy.
bed.
I think the Koreans just have better internet. I think that's all there is to it. They have really
No,
good internet. We have poor internet.
it's the dedication to it's the lifestyle and dedication. I mean,
Yeah.
I
like,
get it.
in those
But
cultures,
also-
when you
but
spend time
also-
doing something,
Their internet.
I mean,
That's why
maybe.
you're like, It's like, how are they doing that on StarCraft? It's like, oh no, they're in the future. They have fiber. That's why. We have bad
they are in
internet
the
in the
future,
US.
but it's because they literally have played so many games that every time you do something, they know exactly how to respond to it.
Also, it's GMT plus like 6 or 7 in Korea, so it's like literally tomorrow.
Sure.
So they are in our future technically.
Or are we in their future?
Oh. Sorry, that was that was a Keanu Reeves noise. Oh. 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 You guys have picks of the week?
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got one.
What do you mean?
You just-
Sure, you were literally supposed to. You had one job.
I was just thinking if we had other things to talk about. No, I've had a pick of the week. I'm still like, I'm not sure if this is the week to fire it off, but I know it's going to be in the next.
This episode was terrible, and Corbin wasn't here, and he's going to be like, "Oh, that's what happens when I'm not around." I hate that this episode.
No, he doesn't ever have to know about it. To be fair,
No.
Someone's going to tell him.
Who?
One of these narcs in the Discord is going to tell him, like, "Man, that episode's kind of weak, Corbin. We need you around." Who's going to go first for their pick of the week?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not going to be on the cast in the next couple weeks for sure. So I'm just making this pick now. But I don't necessarily know if this is the perfect time to pick up. I think it has like maybe another $1 to drop. But my pick of the week is Divine Visitation. I mean, I know like Guilds of Ravnica, everybody's sick of talking about it, but while this card is not nearly as cool as like, you know, Parallel Lives, and you don't just do its own cute things, it is also a mythic rare, which makes a big difference, and it does have to do with tokens, so it's automatically going to be worth money. I think this bottoms out at like low of $4. I think at $4 you just start buying and selling these for 2 years, and I don't expect it to get a reprint between now and then. I guess you're always risking that. It is kind of a generic card, but at the same time, being mythic, I think protects it a little bit from that, hopefully.
This feels like Alhamrat's Archive style of just like casual Dirtle Fest that just
like time. And the reason I say pick this up now is almost exactly like you said, the Alhamrat's Archive. There are certain cards where, and I'm not saying this is good in Standard at all. Now, it is certainly plausible that this card sees some play in Standard if there's the right deck that lines up for it. That is definitely a part of the reason you pick it up now, but also just because we're seeing a lot of these casual staples no longer wait until rotation to hit their bottom. They almost hit their bottom right as they're printed. Like shortly after, within a month or two, because we see a lot of them through Standard. They just either hold value, or things like Alhamrat's Archive, I believe, went up some while it was in Standard, because it, you know, either saw some play in a deck or just started getting hyped, you know, outside of Standard play. And we're not having rotation hitting the same way that it used to 4 or 5 years ago, where it was very trackable to the point where you could say, like, okay, now is the exact time you pick these cards up every year, and you didn't really have to vary from that. Now there are different times you pick up different kinds of cards, and I believe these casual staples that you know are absolutely going to hit, everyone identifies this. Nobody's surprised that this is a card. Everyone read this on a spoiler, went, this is going to be worth money. Now you're just playing the game of how low does it go, and how much and how high can it go. And I think this can easily be a $10 card in the next 2 years.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's one of those cards that you just see coming a mile away, and even though it's a mythic, it probably just like ends up Parallel Lives money. And I don't know if you can buy it as cheap as you could on Parallel Lives, but
right, and that's why I think $4 is your low instead of what Parallel Lives hit 2 or 3.
Well, I think when we're at peak supply, I think is your time to buy it. I think it can probably still go down a little bit. Like, you probably don't get hosed too much if you buy in now, and if it does buy in more, or if it does go down more, just buy in more, and then your average cost goes down even more.
Yep.
Yeah, and part of the reason I say now over waiting that month is just because, like you said, it doesn't go down much more, but we do have the Pro Tour coming up. Heaven forbid there is any sighting of this card even in a sideboard somewhere. It doesn't have to do well, it doesn't have to do anything. If this card sees play, it's never dropping below $5.
Then it pulls an Anointed Procession, and I didn't buy in, and then Anointed Procession hit in Standard, and then I went, fuck.
And it hit multiple times, right? Like, you could have bought into Anointed Procession and sold out 3 or 4 different times, but it's hard to predict when it's actually seeing Standard play, because you just can't follow those trends along with casual. So I think this is just a safe time to buy in now, to guarantee that A, you know, you're getting it at a reasonable price, but also that you're getting your copies. The closer you wait to the Pro Tour, we all know there can be issues, and especially when you're talking about mythics, people oversell, or they just aren't going to give it to you, because a mythic has a chance from going from, you know, $3, $4, $5 to $20, as opposed to a rare that's going to go from 3, 4, 5 to 8, and they're still going to ship them.
Yep. Jason?
I told you guys basically what mine was. I said it was a card that can go in Azoni and Amara and Trostani decks, and is on the reserve list. Was that enough information for you guys to guess?
I mean, some sort of
Gaia's Cradle.
I don't think.
Okay. The card is Sentinel Hierophants. It is a 4th mana 3/2 druid. Each creature you control gains tap, add green to your mana pool, play this ability as a mana source. This is a Cryptolith right on feet. It's getting played, man. It's
What is this
$1.50 for a reserve list card.
I know what it is. I just can't. There we go. Sentinel Hierophants.
I mean, I understand that as a reserve list card, but I would never play this personally.
Okay, well, DJ won't play it. Fuck me, right?
No, I like this card. This is great.
Yeah.
There's also approximately...
Earthcraft is $75.
There's also approximately, like... if you look at just play sets of this card, there's less than 25.
I'm not saying it doesn't go up. I'm just saying I think people who are buying this to play with are making poor decisions.
I think this is fine. It's
I think this is fine,
4
too. If
mana
you're
to
in a
play instead
token
of
deck-
2, but you can swing with it. You can tap it. Like,
I mean-
it's got that over Cryptolith, right? You can tap it.
Cryptolith Right also makes any color.
Sure. I don't know. I agree with Jason on this one. I like it. The
But it's
tap
going in
ability is
2-color
great.
decks. Like, not
On
being
top
able
of
to make
that,
any
like-
color is not that great in 2-color. Or not that necessary 2-color decks.
On top of that, but if you're talking something like, what's the... Did you say Azoni? Is that the green-black legend?
The green-black one, yeah.
Yeah, like things like that. Like anything time you're making tokens. And this card just feels like it could be okay anyway. And maybe it's kind of been lost in all the reserve list shuffle because it's not a particularly outstanding card. I think it's very playable though, and for $1, I think or $2 is absolutely perfectly fine buy-in.
No, I think it's a fine buy at $1. I just don't think it's a very good card.
I mean,
Well,
I
you
don't
know
think
what
it's
else
a very
isn't a
good
very
card
good
either.
card? Paradigm Shift, but apparently someone's like, yeah, Paradigm Shift, and they just bought all the copies. And then everyone on Twitter is like, yeah, I could probably pretend this will be playable. And then Paradigm Shift is $6. So you know what?
Yeah,
This is an actual card that actually will get played in decks and is actually good. So don't buy Paradigm Shift. Buy a playable card that 3 of the 8 commanders from the latest set could use this.
And
Buy
even if you're
Cryptolith right too. Shit, buy your $78 Earthcrafts.
and that's
but
the thing
buy
is like
this.
this isn't the card you're trading out Cryptolith Rights in your deck for. You're playing this alongside Cryptolith Rights. So
Oh yeah,
I don't.
it's copy number 3.
I
and
think-
people just
yeah.
ignored this for years.
Yeah, no, that's why I think it's fine. Like it's a little fragile. It costs a little more than you want to spend, but it's also giving you an ability that is very unique, and there's not a lot of things that Magic give you. So
My pick of the week is partially based on the fact that we haven't seen any Orzhov cards yet. I don't really like to pick standard cards very often, but this is also just sort of a card that's been creeping up slowly as a casual all-star, and so it does have legs even if it doesn't end up seeing standard play. A Lend to the Dusk Rose has quietly become a $7 card instead of a $4 card over the past few months.
yeah, that's
And
great.
I think this card hits 10 before anything else. It makes vampires. It's a very strong card, and just it's not a good commander, but it goes in the 99 of vampire decks very well. People love slapping Blade of the Bloodchief on this thing just for the pure dream living scenario, and it's
Well, it kind of depends on whether the new Orzhov ability is more like Haunt or more like Extort. If it's more like Haunt, this will be very good.
I mean, I don't even think it necessarily depends on a core mechanic. Orzhov, just in general, they can be a strategy of like, we have good new green and black and white cards for an Abzan deck. We could have like a Esper control deck. We could have just some sort of like deck. It doesn't require, there's no like undergrowth deck. There's no like shell of jumpstart like decks or whatever. It's not like you build decks around a specific mechanic. You just need a core shell of, a core shell of Orzhov cards that make this card viable enough.
Why does every white 1/1 token need lifelink now? It just makes limited so miserable. It's so hard to beat that. Like, it made sense for the vampires, but then they're like, oh, what if soldiers had lifelink? Yeah? Why do they have lifelink? Because they're soldiers.
Well, I mean, I think part of that was a balance design issue that they had, and they needed to find a way to make it so that the soul or the token tribes were able to keep up with some of the tribes that have the flyers and stuff like that. I think for limited, it's actually a great balance. I've been a big fan of it with guilds.
I think Dawn of Hope is actually an unbeatable card. If I'm across from that, I just feel like I should concede.
Is that Aurelia?
No, in limited.
Dawn of Hope's the enchantment.
Yeah, in
I
limited,
got you.
it's first.
It absolutely can be. It's like when you get to draft, it's I don't want to say it's too slow, but it definitely, unless you're getting ahead already, it's not going to save you in the game. In sealed though, it is game breaking. And I will happily take it in draft too. I'm not saying it's unplayable. It's just a little slower. What do you think about that card long term?
Dawn of Hope. It's bulkware.
It's got to be great.
It's
right?
a rare.
It says draw a card when you gain a life though.
Don't you need to pay mana?
Yeah. You got to pay 2 colors or something like that. It's I don't like it long term. It's just one of those cards that's like really annoying and limited. But I just
Well of Lost Dreams is worthless, and that's a lot more card draw.
That's fair. Well, that's also been reprinted, right?
It was worthless before it got reprinted, unfortunately. I always liked that card, and then it just never went anywhere.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just too...
Sometimes we like cards and they don't go anywhere. Sometimes DJ says Radiant Destiny sucks and it becomes a $6 card. You just never know what stuff's going to do. I think that's about a podcast, fellas. What do you say?
It seems like a podcast to me.
Yep.
DJ, do you agree that what we recorded was technically a podcast? I
was just going to say technically a podcast.
Jeez.
Well, we fulfilled our obligation to you. If you would fulfill your obligation to us and go to patreon.com.
Fulfill one more obligation to me. And what's something we can make people tweet at Corbin to make him feel like he missed something?
Oh, just make up a... Tweet the hashtag milkfart. Hashtag milkfart.
And tag
tweet that at Corbin a lot. Yeah, just to be like, man, this episode was one of the best one ever. Hashtag milkfart. And he'll listen to the whole episode.
Or just be like, I can't believe they told that story about the time you shit yourself when you drank too much milk or something like that. Like, people just need to come up with like little drops like that and just really have to lead them along.
The more mystery, the better. I'm with J.J. Abrams.
I don't think so. I think if you give too much mystery, Corbin, like, you literally have to be like, Corbin, this is a thing that happened on the podcast for there to be any chance for him to listen to this podcast.
I don't want him to listen. I want him to not know because I know he won't listen no matter what. So I need him to ask people what milk fart is, and I need you guys all to be cool and not tell him.
Yep.
If this episode could be titled hashtag milk fart, that's probably not great for no one's going to download that, so don't do that. So in conclusion, hashtag milk fart, tweet that at Corbin. You're going to have to send your stuff back into TeeSpring, get a credit, and order new stuff. I'm sorry about that. I wish I could do more for you other than reimburse you for your shipping costs and the hassle of going to the post office. That's a pain in the dick. Nobody wants that. I'm sorry to do that to you. I would think that t-shirts will fit in a flat rate envelope and t-shirts and a hoodie will fit in a medium flat rate box. Folded up nice. Just wadded, jammed up in there. Sorry to do that to you. I'll reimburse your shipping costs and we will get you good looking shirts. The glasses, they said it would take 2 to 4 weeks to make them and send them to me. So I will get those out to everybody just as soon as I can. I don't think we have any other business than that. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of this podcast. And, I don't know, we're done, right? Can we just, like, do a slow fade?
Hashtag milk fart.
Hashtag milk fart. Can we just, like, just fade out? The music gets louder and, like, our voices get softer and then, like, you know, we don't have to do a real hard cutoff. We can just
fade movies.
Yeah.